For rehab? That's okay, Daddy. Just start. Let's have this. Hey. We have to sit on the table. But if they have anybody else, they could give the information. Okay. Yeah, put it in my head. Because at the end of the day, watch me. Look your father there. Go outside and stand up with your father. Look your father. No, he not here, but okay. Brothers and sisters all, assalamu alaikum. We will be starting in a few minutes, just about 2-3 minutes. If you all need any water or anything to drink, it's available outside. The coffee station is at the back. And we're trying to make extra seating arrangements for everyone. So just give me a few minutes and we'll be starting. I was just waiting for the live stream. But I ready to start.
And Sherry.
I'm not talking.
Oh, no.
Not yet talking. But what you mean? She giving them the instructions about what she's doing now.
Yes.
Just put it over there. Put it on this side. Bring the other one. Right. Yeah, you ready?
Yes.
Yeah. Ready? أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله أما بعد فأعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. I bear witness that there is no deity deserves to be worshipped but Almighty Allah, and Muhammad is the last and final prophet, after whom no prophet, old or new, will come. And I begin in the name of Allah, the Beneficent, the Merciful. Maulana M.K. Haidal, religious head and missionary of the Ahmadiyya Anjuman Isha'at Islam Incorporated Trinidad and Tobago, the AAIITT. Mrs. Farida Muhammad, president of the AAIITT. All other executive members, imams, members from other jamaats, friends, well-wishers, supporters. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu. I am Mrs. Roshni Ali, and I'm the Assistant Secretary of the AAIITT. And it is my honor and privilege to be your chairperson for today's proceedings. As Muslims, we begin everything with Bismillah, in the name of Allah. And to start this morning's proceeding, I would like to invite Mr. Jamir Usman, Assistant Imam of the Kunjal Islamic Association, to give the opening dua. And this will be followed by the Quranic recitation by Brother Hafiz Ali from the Irie Village Jamaat.
آمين. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. فبسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين الرحمن الرحيم مالك يوم الدين إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. قل اللهم مالك ملك تؤتي الملك من تشاء وتنزع الملك ممن تشاء وتعز من تشاء وتذل من تشاء بيدك الخير إنك على كل شيء قدير. تولج الليل في النهار وتولج النهار في الليل وتخرج الحي من الميت وتخرج الميت حية من الحي وترزق من تشاء بغير حساب. اللهم صل على نبينا محمد. اللهم صل على نبينا محمد. Amin, amin. Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar. La ilaha illallah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Amin.
Assalamu alaikum. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. قال إني عبد الله آتاني الكتاب وجعلني نبيا وجعلني مباركا أينما كنت وأوصاني بالصلاة والزكاة ما دمت حيا وبارا بوالدتي ولم يجعلني جبارا شقيا والسلام علي يوم ولدت ويوم أموت ويوم أبعث حيا ذلك عيسى ابن مريم ذلك عيسى ابن مريم قول الحق الذي فيه يمتعون ما كان لله يتخذ من ولد سبحانه إذا قضى أمرا فإنما يقول له كن فيكون وإن الله ربي وربكم فاعبدوه هذا صراط مستقيم. Sadaqallahu Aliyul Azim. These verses that were recited is from chapter 19, Surah Maryam, verses 30 to 36, and it says, He said, I am indeed a servant of Allah. He has given me the book and made me a prophet. And he has made me blessed wherever I may be, and has enjoined on me prayer and porridge so as long as I live, and to be kind to my mother, and he has not made me insolent or unblessed. And peace is on me the day I was born, and the day I die, and the day I am raised to life. Such is Jesus, son of Mary, a statement of truth which they dispute. It beseems not Allah that he should take himself a son. Glory be to him. When he decrees a matter, he only says to it be, and it is. And surely Allah is my Lord and your Lord, so serve him. This is the right path. Amen.
Thank you very much, Imam Usman and Brother Hafiz. Standing at the chief of, or the head of any organization is the person chosen to lead and direct the executive team. The AAIITT is fortunate to have a very patient, hardworking, and dedicated member guiding our team. Sister Farida Mohammed has been our president for the past 15 years. This will make her 16th year. She has been an executive member for over 25 years and a member of the Ahmadiyya movement before its inception. I would like to welcome our president, Sister Farida Mohammed, to give the opening and welcoming remarks.
أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وأشهد أن محمد رسول الله أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم إن الله معنا صدق الله العلي العظيم. I bear witness that there is one God, Allah, and I further bear witness that Muhammad, upon whom be peace, is the last and final messenger of Allah, after whom no prophet old or new will come. I begin in the name of Allah, the Beneficent, the Merciful. Surely Allah is with us. The Quran, chapter 9, verse 40. Assalamu alaikum. May the peace and blessings of Almighty Allah be with us all. Esteemed missionary and religious head, Maulana M.K. Haidar, our Vice President, Mr. Farzan Ramjan, members of the new executive, general membership, associate members, friends and well-wishers of the Ahmadiyya Anjuman Isha'at Islam Incorporated of Trinidad and Tobago. It is my honor and privilege to extend a very warm and cordial welcome to you to this dual celebration, that is, the Mir'aaj of the Holy Prophet Muhammad, upon whom be peace, and the launch of the 50th anniversary celebrations of the Ahmadiyya Anjuman here in Trinidad and Tobago. We are very happy that so many of you have taken the time to be here this morning to join us in these celebrations. First, I would like to give praise and thanks to Almighty Allah for granting us the opportunity to be here this morning, for health and strength, and for overcoming any challenges that may have presented itself. Life is a mixture of good times and challenging times. And the favorite verse of the Quran, which I recited just before, surely Allah is with us, the Quran chapter 9, verse 40, is a reminder that whatever difficulties we face, Allah is there to help us through. So let us all remember to give praise and thanks to Him each and every moment, and to always ask for His continuous guidance and protection in our daily lives. As the new year 2025 begins, let me also take a moment to pray for Allah's blessings upon each and every one of you and your families. I pray that your finances multiply, your health improve, your friends be blessed, your family be loved, your pains be less, may your worries be less and disappear, and may Allah bless, protect, and guide you and yours. Happy New Year 2025 to one and all. The Ahmadiyya Anjuman Isha'at Islam Trinidad and Tobago was established on the 9th of June 1975 at the Fireburn Mosque by a few members. Some of those founding members are still present here with us: Maulana M.K. Haidar, Imam Iqbal Haidar, and I believe Dr. Hamza Rafiq, Imam Dr. Hamza Rafiq as well. Who we are. The Ahmadiyya Anjuman Isha'at Islam Incorporated of Trinidad and Tobago is a religious, charitable organization primarily concerned with the propagation of Islam through literature, education, and exhortations to follow righteousness. We are a service-based organization catering to the religious, spiritual, and social needs of our members and members of the national and international community. The Anjuman is an organization of Muslims and like-minded individuals who seek to defend God's truth and to correct misconceptions about Islam. The Ahmadiyya Anjuman was founded to educate Muslims about the beauty of Islam and guide them to develop the divine qualities latent in their personality, so necessary for moral and spiritual awakening and progress. We propagate the beauty of Islam to non-Muslims and foster peace, not hostility, among all peoples. As we launch this celebration of 50 years of service and look forward to another 50 years, we pay tribute and gratitude to numerous pioneers past and present for their vision, dedication, and commitment to this organization. Established on June 9, 1975, our past and present officials include, and many times I speak about blessings for our past pioneers, past and present, but sometimes we don't name them. And this morning I'm going to name some of the past and present officials. Presidents. Our first president was the late Mr. Aziz Ahmad, followed by the late Mr. Inayat Muhammad, followed by Mr. Arthur Dean, then Imam Hamid Razak, Imam Jalilul Rahman, and currently serving myself, Mrs. Farida Mohammed, the first female president of our organization. Vice President, the late Mr. Farooq Mohammed, Imam Dr. Hamza Rafiq, Imam Iqbal Haidal, Mr. Nadeem Haidal, Imam Dr. Hamza Rafiq again, and currently our Vice President, Mr. Farsan Ramjan, very hardworking Vice President. Secretaries, the late Imam Shahid Mohammed, the late Imam Nur Mohammed, Imam Aziz Hussein, Mrs. Shaliza Ali, Mrs. Roshni Ali, and currently serving Mr. Arif Rahman. Treasurers, the late Mr. Hanif Mohammed, the late Imam Muhammad Rafiq, the late Imam Hamid Mohammed, known as Breads, Mrs. Salima Mohammed Seal, and currently serving Mrs. Naila Mohammed. Religious head, Maulana M.K. Haidal, the late Imam Jalilul Rahman. Maulana M.K. Haidal currently serves as our missionary and religious head. Maulana M.K. Haidal has continued to dedicate his life to serve as spiritual leader of our organization for over 45 years. The management of the Ahmadi Anjuman is through an executive committee of 20 pledged members elected at our annual Jalsa. This year it was held 2 weeks ago on the 12th of January. An additional 5 members are appointed by the executive, to be a total of 25 members. The executive elects the officers of the Anjuman. Much has been accomplished over the past 50 years. And in the coming months of celebration this year, we will be reminded of the past achievements and also plans for the future. I would like to pay tribute to our present and past executives, all our members over the 50-year span who have contributed to bringing us to this milestone. As we look to the future, I would like to specially commend our young members for their hard work and the dedication. In fact, they were responsible for organizing this program here today. In the area of the vast use of technology, especially with our young people. Let us remember, though, to keep the common touch of communication and gatherings such as these. I would like to thank all our members, friends, well-wishers, and supporters, the contributions financially and otherwise, and their dedicated support throughout the years, and urge you to continue to give your valued support this 50th year, 2025, and in the years to come. May Allah bless and reward each and every one of you for your service in the cause of Islam. And may He give us all the strength, courage, and determination to continue to dedicate our lives in service to Him. On a lighter note, so much of the world seems to be in turmoil. So, enjoy the present moment, even if it's not perfect. Tomorrow is not promised. Live with a grateful heart. Spend the time with those who matter most. Take care of your amazing body that has done so much for you. Enjoy the beauty of this earth, Allah's creation. Stay kind, even when you have every reason not to. Be silly, be fun, be different. Be you, because life is too short to be anything but happy. Give yourself permission to be happy every day. You have the power to make happiness a way of life instead of an occasional experience. As I conclude, may Allah's love and peace fill your hearts. The Quran reminds us, in the remembrance of Allah, do hearts find rest. Thank you for your kind listening, and I invite you to please relax, make yourselves comfortable, and enjoy the rest of the proceedings. May Allah's richest blessings be upon you, and may those blessings flow through you to touch the lives of everyone you meet. Assalamu alaikum.
Thank you very much, Sister Farida. As our president mentioned, this year the AAIITT would be celebrating its 50th anniversary, and we would like to celebrate with you. We have planned a series of activities to observe and share this with you, today being our first event. To officially launch our 50th anniversary celebrations, I would like to invite our Vice President and I believe the Assistant Imam of the Anjuman Hidayatul Islam in Siparia, Mr. Farzan Ramjan, to the podium to do his presentation.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. In their histories, there is certainly a lesson for men of understanding. Chapter 12, verse 111 from the glorious Quran. In their histories, and that is what we are celebrating here today. And more importantly, my dear sisters and brothers, if we couldn't have launched this convention on a better day than today, as our religious leader and missionary Maulana Kemal Haidar recommended this day for us, and it was unanimously agreed upon by the executive, because we are going to remember the ascension of our dear and holy Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, at the same time. So keep that in your mind. We are launching. Just like how the Holy Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, would have climbed those stairs to Almighty Allah. So basically that is my duty here this morning. But nonetheless, the launch of our convention is in two parts. We have the local part of the convention and we have the foreign part of the convention. The local part of the convention started as of now, immediately. And let's take the form of the visiting of all our Jamaats and members. And the objective is not only to spread Islam, and we have been doing that for the last 50 years, but to build that camaraderie, but to foster that love, and to carry on the strength of mankind amongst ourselves. And you know, it gladdens our heart. I'm sure the President and all of the head table here, when we look across and straight across to the horizon on the other side, we see that flow of beauty in colors and in the smiling faces. And please smile, because there is a photographer around. And if you catch yourself, Kimberly, talk about your picture and go come out good. So smile as much as you can smile, because today is a very happy day for the Anjuman. 50 years ago, men would have toiled to bring us to where we are. And we must pay tribute to them, and the President have done that. Beautiful job by doing that. So as we journey through this local leg, and as we join the caravans straight from Aruka to Siparia, from Gaspilo to Kunjal, from Fireburn to New Grant, and Irie Village on the way, we're going to meet and greet and love every one of us. And that is why today I am appealing to all of you. Please make that effort. When the invitation comes to your door, raise your hand and say, I accept. And join your caravan, join your Jamaat to move around with the other and meet with the other Jamaats. That is the objective of the local leg in fostering this camaraderie. And as we move, as I said, from Jamaat to Jamaat, the grand finale of after all of that, I know you're going to get tired, so we bring it back right here where we started on the 8th of June. So I will give you now some dates as I have it from the various Jamaats. Please log it into your memory and then put it into your diary on your tablet or your phones. So Aruka has accepted the invitation, and they will be hosting us from the 12th, on the 12th of April 2025. First date. They kick it off. Fireburn followed on the 26th of April. Gaspilo followed on the 4th of May. Irie Village on the 17th of May. New Grant on the 18th of May. Kunjal on the 24th of May. And Siparia to be announced. My dear sisters and brothers, if I will repeat the dates, just for you if you miss it, if you went and closed the fridge according to someone when they was making the speech. On the 12th of April is Aruka. Fireburn on the 26th of April. Gaspilo on the 4th of May. Irie Village on the 17th of May. New Grant on the 18th of May. Kunjal on the 24th of May. Please really take note of those dates. And we look forward to your joining us. And then, as I said, on the 8th of June, which is the day before our actual birth date of the Anjuman, which is on the 9th, because it being a Sunday, on the 8th of June is our grand finale where we all meet again right here. The foreign date and the foreign part of this is a 3-day convention. Hopefully, inshallah, we will be able to pull that off also. And those dates are as follows. The 8th the 9th and the 10th, it's how slow are going, right? Of August 2025. That invitation and the planning of that is already on its way. We will let you all know, but we're not going to bring you back here. On the 9th, when we could be culminating, 8th, 9th, 10th. On the 10th, we will be hopefully, and again, and I will come to that part just now, but hopefully it may be either at the Hyatt or at the Hilton or some of these places, because we are inviting foreigners into our country and into our home and into our hearts. So we have to, put it up, but more importantly, for all of you to be in a place, in an atmosphere like that, like the hotels that is here in Trinidad. So please bear in mind, keep those dates as we go forward. And we bring to the end of this convention a hearty, hearty success of ourselves, feeling good in our hearts that we were part of it and we have contributed to it. And as I talk about contributing, now this is my part that I have to do to all of you. To do something like this, my dear sisters and brothers, and I'm being very realistic, it costs a lot of money. So finance is very, very important to pull it off. Our aim is to raise $200,000. And we're already on the road for that. Contributions are coming in, my dear sisters and brothers, and we really believe that we will be able to cover that, to make that budget of $200,000. We want to raise $200,000. Now I'll tell you why. To put this together, right here now today at present, what you're seeing here, we are streaming live internationally. So you'll notice that we go in and on the technological side, very advanced. It costs a lot of money to put that alone together. All our equipment, something that has to be bought, and thanks to our brother Nadim and our brother Jawad, who is in Canada, and then we have another link in India. The Maulana probably will mention his name. So you see, my dear sisters and brothers, you're not only here in Freeport, you are all over the world. So the objective is to raise that $200,000. Plus, the expenses we would have spent to bring this building up to par, up to a certain to where it is today, and then we have to go forward beyond, because right now we are overflowing, and we may need to expand for sure. So all of that is expense. We would have paved the yard that you see. That costs a lot of money. We would have fenced the place. We put on a motorized gate. All of these things, you know for a fact, if you're doing it for yourself, how much money it costs you as an individual. As an organization, we don't have money like your own. We have to depend on our people like you and our well-wishers. And that is some of the areas. And then, you could make these contributions. So I'm appealing to you all to make some contributions. You can put it towards, like your birthday, your anniversary, a birth of a child. You want to remember your loved ones who would have passed and gone to the beyond. You can make contribution towards that. On this, it's a one-time contribution, yes, but it will help us to achieve that goal of $200,000. Then go ahead, broaden your wings now. I want you to go out to your families, to your friends, foreign and local. So we accept in US dollars. If you're coming from India, bring your rupee. And if you're coming from Venezuela, I don't know where's the currency. I'm not going to accept those bees. But my dear sisters and brothers, our objective is to raise $200,000. And so I am appealing to all of you. Join us, not only on the caravan to move around, but to fill the coffers of the Anjuman so that we could really have that money to pull this out successfully. And I am sure, watching the faces, watching that smile on your face when I talk 200,000, I don't see it happening. If there's a member right now in the audience who have a checkbook and he want to write it out, no problem. Just write it and hand it to the president. Oh no, the treasurer is right outside. but we need your help. And so in closing, I want to thank all of you for being here this morning. As one of the coordinators of the convention for 2025, this 50th, this is our Jubilee celebration, together with my brother Nadim, the other coordinator, we want to thank you. And hopefully that you will help us to achieve that goal of $200,000. Thank you. May Allah bless all of you. Assalamu alaikum.
Thank you very much, Brother Farzan. To grace us in song, I would like to invite a stalwart in music and song. This person has been a member of the AAI-ITT for a little over 40 years. He has sung at almost all our major events and other organizations, Muslim and otherwise, worldwide, with his live bands as well as his local karaoke band. He conducted many singing classes at the Fireburn Ahmadiyya Jamaat, to which he belongs. He also conducted several classes for the AAI-ITT, including singing, voice training, and playing the keyboard. I would like to invite none other than Mr. Harun Ali to serenade us with his melodious voice.
Assalamu alaikum. A'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajim. Bismillahir rahmanir rahim. So I'm just getting on the sound engineer. So let me say that I'm very happy to be here, to be invited, to be part and parcel of the Anjuman. And I'm sure that most of you know me, so but I appreciate if you could sing along with me. Yeah. We need to keep this alive. Are you ready, guys? All right, so I think we have to take this feed from the phone directly.
धमाकेदार साउंड के साथ मोबाइल
मुनब्बियों में रहो मतलब करके आने वाला मुनब्बियों में रहो मतलब करके आने वाला मुरादे गरीबों की मनवाने वाला मुनब्बियों में रहो मतलब करके आने वाला मुसीबत में गए तो कि काम आने मुसीबत में गैरों के काम आने वाला, वो अपने पराई का गम खाने वाला, फकीरों का मलजा, ज़ईफ़ों का मां, यतीमों का वाली, गुलाबों का मौला। मुरादे गरीबों की बरमाने वाला, वो नबियों में रहमत नकल आने वाला। खताकारी से गुजर करने वाला, खताकारी से गुजर करने वाला, बरअंदेश के दिल में घर करने वाला, मुफासिद को ज़ेरो ज़बर करने वाला, कबाइल को शीरो शक्कर करने वाला। हीरा से सोए काम आया, उतर कर हीरा से सोए काम आया, और एक नुस्खा कि साथ लाया, नसीगम को जिसने कुंदन बनाया, हरा और खूटा अलग कर दिखाया। मुरादे गरीबों की बरनाने वाला, वो नबियों में रहमत लक़ब आने वाला, वो नबियों में रहमत लक़ब आने वाला। आमीन।
Thank you, Brother Harun. The religious head of this organization is a leading expert in the teaching and understanding of the Holy Quran. His sermons are realistic, combined with a wide array of references from scriptures worldwide. He never disappoints, and we all look forward to hearing him. The feature address is on the topic, Comparing the Ascension of Jesus and Muhammad. I would like to invite our very educated, knowledgeable, and experienced missionary and religious head, Maulana M.K. Haidal, to deliver the feature address.
अशहदु अल्ला इलाहा इल्लल्लाह वहदहु ला शरीका लह व अशहदु अन्ना मुहम्मदन अब्दुहु व रसूलुहु अम्मा बअद अऊज़ु बिल्लाहि मिनश शैतानिर रजीम बिस्मिल्लाहिर रहमानिर रहीम लक़द सदक़ल्लाहु रसूलहुर रुया बिल हक़्क़ لتدخلن المسجد الحرام إن شاء الله آمنين محلقين رؤوسكم ومقصرين لا تخافون فعلم ما لم تعلموا فجعل من دون ذلك فتحا قريبا صدق الله العلي العظيم وصدق رسوله النبي الكريم ونحن على ذلك من الشاهدين. I do experience that no God is there without Allah. I do experience that Muhammad is his messenger after whom no prophet, old or new, is appearing. My dear sisters and brothers, all assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. I particularly appreciate the presence of some of the very young children here, and I want to congratulate parents and grandparents for bringing their children to this very important and significant celebration that we are having today. A twofold one, celebrating the Mir'aaj al-Nabi of the Prophet Muhammad and of the Prophet Jesus, as well as launching our 50-year celebration. Indeed, a very grand event. I also want to appreciate some of the very senior members, some of them who are in their senior years, not that very mobile, but still make the effort to come here. And of course, between these, you have all of you who I really appreciate and seeing here today. I have read a verse of the Quran that is not usually associated with this topic of the Mir'aaj, but which is a very important and significant verse that explains what I'm going to speak about today. And I interpret this verse as follows. Allah brought about the realization of the vision of his messenger for a good reason, for good reasons. You will definitely access the Masjid Haram with Allah providing the ways and means, having safeguards, your head spared or trimmed. You are not afraid, for he is aware of what you were unaware of. He plans, other than that, a triumph very soon. Normally when Muslims particularly compare issues, circumstances between Jesus and Muhammad, or for that matter, the founders of their various religions and the founder of Islam, the Prophet Muhammad, there seems to be disparaging remarks. In order to highlight the excellence of the Prophet Muhammad, you find that the comparison may be negative. That is not always so. If there are negative comparisons, it is not because of what these people, these great personalities preached. It is because of the interpretation that is given both by the Muslims, the interpretation of the Prophet Muhammad and his events in his life, and the interpretation of Jesus, Moses, David, Solomon, Ram, Krishna, Abraham. Everyone has a different story about these personalities. When we speak of the Mir'aaj of the Prophet Muhammad, for example, you would find that the Quran does not mention the Mir'aaj in connection with Muhammad's ascension. What the Quran does describe is what is known and accepted by Muslims as Isra. And Isra means a night journey, a journey by night. A night can mean here physical night, or it can mean also a spiritual night. But the Quran calls it a vision. That the experience that the Prophet Muhammad had is a vision that was seen by his heart. In other words, it was not a physical movement from one place to another. Now, when we describe this spiritual experience, we are told that the journey is supposed to have taken place from Mecca to Jerusalem. We are not dealing here with the ascension to Allah, which is a different issue. What the Quran does tell us in chapter 17, verse 1, is that the Prophet Muhammad journeyed from Mecca. Jerusalem is not mentioned, but another location is called the Masjid al-Aqsa. From Masjid al-Haram, which is the Kaaba in Mecca, to Masjid al-Aqsa, which is supposed to be a building in Jerusalem. But we must understand that since this experience was a vision, Muhammad never went to Jerusalem. It was a vision, it was an experience. He didn't go anywhere. And all this fuss and this fanaticism about the Prophet's visit to Masjid al-Aqsa in Jerusalem is pure imagination. He never went there, and therefore what Muslims claim about the holiness and the sacredness of Masjid al-Aqsa because the Prophet went there, he actually stayed there and performed prayers there, all of this is pure imagination. In the Prophet's time, Jerusalem had lost its name. It's not found in the Quran, not found even in the Hadith. It was known as Elia Capitolian. It was a small village next to a rubbish dump because the temple was broken down several times and the rubble was just discarded. Some of it is even still there today. So we have to understand what the Quran tells us from a different perspective. And in order to understand what the Quran says, we look at the Quran. We derive our interpretation of the Quran from the Quran itself. So as we look at the words Masjid al-Haram, we know that is the Kaaba in Makkah. Baytullah is described in the Quran. And Masjid al-Aqsa is also the Kaaba, the surroundings of which are blessed. And that's a key to understanding what Masjid al-Aqsa is. It says its surroundings are blessed. Barakna hawlaha. The surroundings, the environments of that Masjid al-Aqsa is blessed. This cannot apply to what is known presently as the Masjid al-Aqsa in Jerusalem. But we need to understand that the Quran teaches us that masjid means a place of prayer, a place of prostration, as well as a time of prostration. And haram, as you know, means sacred. Masjid al-Haram is a sacred house, but it also means, and more commonly known, as you will know, this is haram, that is haram, it means that which is forbidden. And Aqsa means remote. So you have two words, Masjid al-Haram, and Masjid, I said, is a time of prostration, a time of prayer, which is forbidden, and Masjid al-Aqsa, a time of prayer, which in fact is remote, is far off. So that Masjid al-Haram means a sacred place of prayer or a forbidden time of prayer. Both of these are correct. And Masjid al-Aqsa also means a remote place of prayer as well as a remote time of prayer. So if you look at chapter 17, verse 1, which speaks of this Mir'aaj, which speaks of the Isra, the Quran tells us, and I translate it in this way, interpret it, moving swiftly to him, to Allah, who carried his servant from a time when prayer was forbidden to a remote time of prayer. What is this time that was when prayer was forbidden? Again, we turn to the Quran. In chapter 96, the Quran tells us, do you not observe the one who prevents his servant when he prays? So the Quran tells us that there was a prevention of the Prophet Muhammad as he prayed in the Kaaba. And it is well known that the Prophet Muhammad was harassed at the Kaaba. He was shut out of it for 2 years. An attempt was made to murder him, and eventually he had to flee to Medina. The Quran even tells us he was blocked from the Kaaba in chapter 48, verse 25. So when the Prophet Muhammad had this Isra, this vision, it was fulfilled as the Quran says. Yes, you are being prevented. But in chapter 48, which I've recited, verse 27, it says, you will definitely access the Masjid al-Haram. You will enter it, you will come back to it. So the vision that the Prophet Muhammad had, and the Quran describes it as a vision, and it says that's a trial for you, they have a lot of experiences, but ultimately that vision is manifested, is realized by your return to the Masjid al-Aqsa, which is a remote time. You will come back to the Kaaba. Now, my dear sisters and brothers, from the time of Abraham, who re-established the foundations of the Kaaba, as many of you know, the sons of his two wives are alleged to be at loggerheads with each other, Ishmael and Isaac. Ishmael and Isaac, yes, and their progeny. The progeny of Ishmael later on became citizens of Arabia. They were not, Ishmael was not an Arab. He was a Hebrew that came from outside, an Abraham. But they later on became Arab citizens of Arabia. We are given stories of the two wives of Abraham being at loggerheads, and because of their children, and because of that quarrel, today we have this big issue between the descendants of Ishmael and the descendants of Isaac. The descendants of Isaac, Isaac had a son named Jacob. Jacob was renamed Israel, and that's where we get this kind of conflict between the sons of Ishmael and the sons of Israel. And up to this day, that hostility is still there between Jews and Muslims. And it should not have been. It is because of the misinterpretation and wrong information and misapplication of the guidance that Allah had given throughout the ages that has led to this situation there. And the fault is both that of Muslims as well as those who are the descendants of the Israelites. So even today they are killing each other for a piece of land that has never been at peace. Ever since Jerusalem was built by Solomon, it is said he built the palace and temple. Soon after, his own family created problems. Later on, it was destroyed. That was called the destruction of the first temple. It was rebuilt. It was destroyed again. And for centuries, a millennium almost, Jerusalem was never at peace. So how could this have been the Masjid al-Aqsa, which the Quran says the environs are blessed? It is not blessed. It is a split of war even up to this day. So when the Quran assures us that the Masjid al-Aqsa and its environs are blessed, it could not have meant Jerusalem, which was destroyed time and time again. It means Makkah, which is a place to frequent in harmony. We manifest that not only every year in Hajj, but every day as people perform Umrah from all over the world, all countries, all races, and in some cases people of different religions. And it should be so, because Hajj, as the Quran tells us, is enjoined on all human beings, not only Muslims alone. There's no reason why people who don't subscribe to the Islamic faith cannot perform Hajj. It is just a local Muslim interpretation. But according to the Quran, all human beings should be attacked to Hajj, because it's a place that is to be frequently frequented in harmony, so that all people can live in harmony. That's what we as the Ahmadiyya movement stand for. Many of our supporters belong to other faith systems. Our Vice President spoke just a while ago. He was once a head of a Hindu community and built a temple, and is still contributing there, and is also now working with the Muslim community. At our headquarters in Fireburn, we were responsible for building the temple in that area, encouraging the Hindus to come together, get together, and have a place where you can bring up people in an environment of your own faith systems. And that is one of the uniqueness of the Ahmadiyya movement, that you can contribute towards it regardless of your race or religion, regardless of your standing, your age, your financial situation. Someone said to me today, just coming here, you know, we don't make much financial, we can't make much financial contribution. I said, but we are happy to have you here. Why would we have a function like this and nobody is here? Your very presence is a contribution. Every time we invite you, you come. Whether you can make a financial contribution or not, but everyone, as our Vice President Fazal mentioned, should realize that the work that we are doing is something important for our society today, because our motto is we want to live in peace, not hostility. But when we look at the life of every prophet of God, every prophet of Allah, there's a time when he or she attains an audience with God, and that is what Mir'aaj really is. A spiritual elevation where you are able to come into contact with your Creator. The prophets merely show us, we have records of that being an actual experience. But it is open to each and every one of us. When we celebrate the Mir'aaj of the Prophet Muhammad, of Jesus Christ, of Moses, of Jacob, all of which are mentioned in the scriptures, it is an indication to us that we too can have an audience with God. That is what religion is all about. That is why prophets came, to give us messages that will take us to our Creator. Because that is a being that has all power and can give us some of that power to enhance our ability to function in life, whether it is managing diseases, our workplace, bringing up our children, living in the community. All of these things are guidance that are given to us directly by God once we are in communication with Him. So in the life of every prophet, he or she attains an audience with God. This is called in English a theophany. Theo meaning God and phany meaning an audience, a spiritual experience of oneself being in the presence of Allah. And this is what Mir'aaj really is. But before a prophet can receive his commission from God to preach the message, he spends his days and nights in fasting and prayer. Jacob, Moses, Jesus, and Muhammad, as well as other prophets, but these are the ones where we have definite records that Moses and Jesus and Jacob spent 40 or so days and nights embarked in prayer and fasting in order to move on and fulfill their mission to bring human beings to Allah. But we want to deal with the ascension of Jesus. There are 3 ascensions mentioned in the scriptures about the ascension of Jesus. The first is, he had spent 40 nights and 40 days and he was taken by the Spirit, the Holy Spirit, just as Muhammad was taken. Gabriel took him in that experience that he had. And we know the angel Gabriel also took the Prophet Muhammad. So there's a commonality between the experiences of both of these prophets. In that experience, which many persons who follow Jesus Christ, whether correctly or incorrectly, they said he was tempted by the devil on 3 occasions and he passed those tests. But it's important to note that he was carried by the Spirit of God. He was protected from the evils that are there in the community and society. His second ascension was in the Garden of Gethsemane. And Jesus, in sorrow, he prayed for escape from death because he knew, and there are a lot of reasons why, he knew he was surrendering himself to face what was capital punishment in those days. He performed sajda in the Garden of Gethsemane, his face on the ground, the scripture says so. And later he was arrested and he was nailed on a pole. He was not nailed on a cross. When Jesus was put on the given capital punishment, he was actually nailed like this on a single pole. The scriptures give evidence of that. The concept of this cross and his being put like this came afterwards. It's not there in the scriptures. And that's another thing. If you more information, we can hold classes or meetings in which we can educate you on that. Similarly, we find that in the case of the Prophet Muhammad, just before his Mir'aaj, he also had the experience where his house was surrounded to murder him. So Jesus Christ knew that they were going to murder him, or they attempt to murder him, and he prayed. So much so he said he prayed and his sweat was like blood. Deep in prayer, he had asked his companion, he was performing tahajjud prayer. He had asked his companion to join him, but they fell asleep. In the case of the Prophet Muhammad, his enemy fell asleep and he was able to escape. The third experience that Jesus had of an ascension is that after he was taken down from the pole, he was taken down alive, he was kept and properly treated, and there are evidence of the fact that he did not die. In fact, I've been looking at some videos for children by some Christian authors, and they were pointing out that here he is alive, he's alive. There was no doctor to certify that he had actually died. He didn't rise from the dead, he rose from a state of fainting, of insensitivity, coma if you want to call it that, but he did not die. That's one of the important contributions that the Ahmadiyya movement has made to understanding the personality of Jesus. And it is said that after he had spoken to his disciples, he was taken up into heaven and sat to the right-hand side of God. Now, it was an ascension, whatever it is, but certainly it was not a physical rising. Unfortunately, some Muslims believe that Allah did what was called Rafa. He raised them up physically into heaven. Neither the Gospels nor the Quran had really given that kind of interpretation. Because how could a writer see that Jesus going up and sit on the right-hand side of God? The Quran says, vision comprehends God, but he comprehends, vision does not comprehend God, but he comprehends all vision. You can't see God because God is not a physical entity. God is a being of attributes, an entity of love and kindness and forgiveness and so on. So where is God sitting up there that you can see him sitting on the right-hand side of God? It shows that the fault is not that of Jesus. The fault is that of those who recorded things that they imagined. And we ask ourselves, even if that is so, even if the writers or the compilers of the biography of Jesus had said he had ascended, what purpose did his ascension serve? That's where we compare Jesus with Muhammad. Something is wrong with the records that we have. These were great personalities who made significant contributions, and remember, Muslims must never consider Jesus to be an opponent of Muhammad. We recognize him as a prophet of God. He's our prophet as well. He's our personality. He's not the personality of Christians. Similarly, Ram and Krishna are not only for Hindus. They are our prophets. We recognize, we are obligated to accept them, the Quran tells us. And therefore we speak good of them. If there is any record that shows them in a bad light, it is not their fault. It is the fault of the people who made those records. So how did people benefit from his ascension by him going up there? One of the things that both Muslims and Christians say is that he's coming back. He's going to return. Why? Does this mean that his previous mission and method and message failed? He couldn't do what he wanted to do at that time, so he went up physically into heaven, as the Muslims and others believe, and he will come back at some point in time. And even if Jesus were to come back, and this is a point we will be doing in our caravan of celebrations, because our main theme at our international convention in August is the return of Jesus, a recipe for peace. And that is important, because if we ask the question, how will this Jesus save the world? With violence? This is against his teaching to turn the other cheek. We know that. Jesus is described as a person who came with mercy and forgiveness. Forgive your brother, forgive your neighbor, forgive your enemy. He's the only prophet of God that we can recognize who did not use violence, did not use war or army or any way to promote his message. He used words, he used parables. He used intelligent language to convert people and bring them into an understanding of God. Unfortunately, some of these things were misunderstood. So is he coming back now to use parables again? To use miracles, to use some kind of supernatural weapons or man-made weapons is he going to use? What tools will he really use? And Muslims also are at fault in this. If you think that Jesus is going to come back and he's going to, as they say, break the cross and kill the swine, it means he'll have to have a hammer or jackhammer to break all of these crosses all over, because they take it literally. And to have a knife or something to kill all these pigs in the world. These kinds of concepts are not to be accepted. And this is one of the emphasis of the Ahmadiyya movement. We look at Muhammad forever. His ascension, he brought back for the tool of prayer. And in fact, he had said, As-salatu Mir'aaj al-mu'minin. Prayer is the mirage of the believer. The Quran tells us in chapter 9, verse 99, that the Arabs of Arabia benefited because of the prayers of the Prophet Muhammad. Prayer has a very powerful effect. And we can pray for ourselves and for other people and ensure that the power of Allah comes upon them to help them in their life. And the Quran teaches us this. The world is thinking today that Satan is all over the world. The kind of crimes, the kind of, you see it right here. You're afraid in your homes. We ask the question, can Satan be killed by a nuclear bomb? And we see so many countries in the world today developing weapons, of nuclear weapons that can destroy the world, but is not destroying evil. Armies are increasing. Hundreds of thousands of people are being trained to kill. New weapons, drones, bombs, missiles are being thrown, and we still are not destroying evil. That is why we as members of the Ahmadiyya movement have an answer that the return of Jesus is a recipe for peace. And we will be demonstrating that in our caravan as well as in our final finale at our convention. Now, if you look at some of what is stated in the scriptures, is that Jesus' message is spread with the sword. Muhammad is accused of spreading Islam with the sword. That's not so. Jesus will not bring peace to humankind, and he did nothing to bring peace on his first visit. So what will happen in the second visit? He himself says in the Gospel of Matthew, and this is what the words quoted of Jesus. I don't agree with it, but that's what they say. That's what is there in the scripture. Think not that I am come to send peace on earth. I came not to send peace, but a sword. How can you accuse Muhammad of spreading Islam with a sword when this is in your scripture? That I came not to send, I'm not come to send peace on earth, but a sword. In other words, bring my enemies, another said, and bring them hither. Anybody opposing me, and I will kill them. When scriptures have these things, somebody has to make a correction, said that cannot be the teaching of Jesus. So what is the purpose of all this? Why is Jesus coming again? To bring such destruction? And many of you, the associated Muslims and Christians, believe that when Jesus comes, before he even comes and after he comes, there's going to be an apocalypse, there's going to be Armageddon, there's going to be wars and rumors of wars and fighting and killing. And that's what Jesus is going to come back to meet and to do. He's not coming to build a human personality so that human beings can live in harmony. So both Muslims and Christians are at fault here. So in these prophecies, there's no message of peace. for reformation of human beings from barbarism to civilization. That's why we have to chart the world into a different direction, both Muslims as well as non-Muslims. We have to chart them in a different directions. Jesus is supposed to bring massive changes in the physical earth. There'll be earthquakes and hurricanes and all of these things. But what about the human personality? What change is he going to bring? People are looking and they're seeing climate change. This is the last ages. They see tsunamis. They see fires burning. They see earthquakes. They see volcanic eruptions. They said, this is the end of times. Jesus is going to come. But how is he contributing to the improvements of human beings? And where is the rise to spirituality? Where is the Mir'aaj that we can move closer to God? The concepts that people have of Jesus and Muhammad at present is only to fight and kill each other. We are seeing that on a daily basis. So if they are good followers of his, are they so weak and powerless against the enemy of Satan? Why are Muslims, followers of the Prophet Muhammad, cannot control evil among their own people, among others? Who is carrying the message of Islam as a religion of peace? They accept us as the Ahmadiyya movement. Why are people who are saying that pieces to the world are building more and more weapons? You just observe the newspapers in any country in the world, today, this year, anytime, and you will see that there are a lot of problems, economic problems for people. Governments will say we can't raise your salary. Governments will say we can't afford to give better pensions to old people. Governments say we can't afford better health care. In many countries, even in England, Canada, United States and so on, Europe, you see the problems with it. They can't afford to maintain their community and society, to keep them healthy and happy. But you will never see a reduction in military spending. Billions are being spent for missiles. They never say we can't afford to. They say we have to increase in the production of weapons to kill people. But we can't help those who are sick and those who are old and those who are young and our community and society to live a better life. That's the reality. So there has to be a different message. And it's good that we are starting the change in thinking of people by the launching of the convention here today. And your presence, therefore, is a very significant one. So if they are good followers of his, Jesus said, even if you have as faith as much as a mustard seed, you can perform miracles. Why are his followers not performing these miracles to bring peace in the world? In fact, Jesus, it is said at the time the sign of the Son of Man will appear in the sky, all the nations of the earth will mourn. They will see the Son of Man coming from the clouds in the sky with power and great glory. So the message here, both among Muslims and Christians, is that Jesus' presence here will bring mourning and weeping, negative things, not the positive of the uprising, of making human beings better. So Jesus coming is a time of mourning for nations, not a time of benefit and joy. That's why, my dear sisters and brothers, we are not waiting for Jesus to come. We are telling the world that he has already arrived. And the founder of the Ahmadiyya movement, Mirza Ghulam Ahmad, has made that claim and proven that claim. And he says, such is my claim. I am the Jesus. You want Jesus? I am the Jesus. But it's not the one that you're expecting who's going to bring war and fighting and killing. No. The work for which Almighty God has appointed me, Mirza Ghulam Ahmad said. This is the work. What he has appointed him for? My function as a promised Messiah, that is the second coming of Jesus, is that I should remove the separation between God and man and re-establish man's connection of purity and love with his divine master. I have been raised that I should put a stop to religious wars and lay the basis of peace, concord, and fellow feeling between human beings. Anybody claiming to be the return of Jesus from any religion, can they put better words than these? So if a man comes and says, I am Jesus, but I'm not coming to kill people, to bring hostility, I'm coming to develop, to stop wars, concord, and establish concord and fellow feeling between human beings. He has died, Mirza Ghulam Ahmad, but he has left an organization that has to carry on this world. Where else when we get this message? All people will be ultimately made one nation. The Quran says, Kana nasa ummatun wahida. All human beings are one community. Why is that not so today? This is the universal hope of all sects. All religions want to promote oneness of humanity and peace and harmony. The Christians think that the time is coming when all the nations of the earth will accept the doctrine of the divinity of Jesus. The Jews entertain the fond hope that their Messiah will soon appear and make them the inheritors of the whole earth and bring the Gentiles, the opposite, those who are not Jews, into the Jewish faith. The Islamic prophecies also give the hope of the advent, the coming of the Messiah, who will make Islam the predominant and universal religion of the world. And the promised time of advent goes no further than the commencement, the beginning of the 14th century of the Hijrah. So all of these prophecies, all of these expectations are there and still there. Mirza Ghulam Ahmad said, you will wait for the second coming of Jesus. Your children will wait, your grandchildren, your great-grandchildren, generation will wait. He's not going to come. Remember, when the Prophet Muhammad went on Mir'aaj, he returned to earth. Jesus is supposed to have gone to heaven and is supposed to come back, return to earth. It's not going to happen. And that's one of the differences in the interpretation of the ascension of Jesus and the ascension of the Prophet Muhammad. Prophet Muhammad came back and he gave us a message that will make ourselves closer to God through prayer. And so the second coming of Jesus must perform the same function because they are all prophets from God. So Allah intended only moral and spiritual reformation of the people, not to perform a miracle of stopping of, this country controlling Jerusalem or Makkah or some part of the world. Allah intends only moral and spiritual reformation for the people, and He has selected me for this purpose, Mirza Ghulam Ahmad said. And the Quran teaches us that God is reachable by every person. Every person can reach God. He's so near. Inni Kareeb says, whenever you call on me, Inni Kareeb, I am near to you. So the message of the comparison between the ascension of Jesus Christ, both of whom brought messages to bring us closer to God, is that no one has to transcend the distance of space to attain nearness to Allah, that you have to rise up and people see you sit on the right-hand side of God. Or the Prophet Muhammad took a buraq and went and met God in some place. Jesus himself taught that the kingdom of God is within you. Whenever you call on me, I am near, says the Quran. And Jesus said the kingdom of God is within you. And that's what Mirza Ghulam Ahmad said, I have come to bring a change in you. So Allah is a spiritual entity who resides in the heart of all of us. And we must transcend the material things to become close to God. Material things, a human being, a tree, a plant, a stone cannot take us near to God. We have to understand that the non-material things like love, peace, harmony, cooperation, understanding, dedication, patience, these are not physical entities, but these are the nature of the divine being. So Mir'aaj then, of both Jesus Christ as well as Muhammad and the other prophets of God, is the transcending of the physical self rather than the physical world. The transcending, transcend means to go higher. Just as ascend means to go up, to go across. So you have to cross your physical self and look at your inner spiritual self where God resides. Love resides in you, patience resides in you, determination resides in you. It's not outside. You don't get it in a microphone or a phone or so. These are not things that will develop your qualities. They are merely to provide information. So my dear sisters and brothers, rise up from your material attachments. And that's why we're asking for donations. That's why Farzan made that appeal. Give what you have. Whatever you can spare, says the Quran. $1, $2, 50 cents. Your children, whatever age, can come and say, I'm giving something for the cause of this message, of this organization to promote this message. So rise up from your material attachments. Put religion above the world. That is a bayat, that is a pledge, that is a commitment that members of the Ahmadiyya movement make. We make a commitment to put our religion above our material self. I think Farzan is an excellent example of that. A lot of this building, he has been here so frequently. I don't know, his wife probably, want to know why he's so up here so often. If he has to fix a pipe, a sink, a door, the fence, he's here, dedicated. That is how we put religion above the world. Getting donations, talking to friends and relatives and business people. Can you help us? We have an important message. So my dear sisters and brothers, you can do something. Each one of you can do something. Ahmadiyya Anjuman provides you the opportunity. So we are here to provide an opportunity for you to rise up above your material existence and develop your spiritual self. Barakallahu lana wa lakum fil Quran al-Azim wa nafa'ana wa iyyakum bil ayati wa zikril hakim innahu ta'ala jawadun kareem malikun barurun rahim. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Maulana, for sharing your knowledge, for inspiring us, for clarifying our misconceptions, and effectively comparing the ascension of Jesus and Muhammad. We will now have a message in song by one of our nightingales, Sister Nazina Hussein, originally a member of the Gasparilla Jamaat, and now a member of the Aruka Islamic Association. Sister Nazina has been a member and supporter of the AAIITT since a teenager and has been singing since then as well. I will now like to ask her to grace us with a very melodious voice.
Assalamu alaikum. Roshni was telling you a little while ago, not Roshni, Farzan was talking about the connections and the relationships we build through being members of this Ahmadiyya Anjuman. Probably must be more than a year ago, a young man came home by us. He's a friend of my son-in-law. And we were sitting talking. He's from South. So I said, boy, you all have real bad roads down in South. We have bad roads up here, but we have it really bad. Because he said, where you went? So I said, well, I went New Grand. He said, you went New Grand? Who you know in New Grand? Because we live in St. Augustine. So I said I went to Imam Shah's wife's funeral. He said, you know Imam Shah? And then I said, yeah. He said, that's my grandmother, brother. So how you know these people? I know them since I was a teenager. Because we are from different Jamaats, and up to today we have the same relationship. Because after all these 40 years, I had more than 40 years I knew them, I had gone to the Imam Shah's wife's funeral. And when my son-in-law come downstairs, he said, well, boy, you make family when you reach up here. That is how we lived. I don't know if it applies to the young people now, but we formed relationships with people all over the country who became so close like family. So last year I was at a funeral, another funeral, and I met Shamila. What you doing here? Because they're from Irie Village, we from St. Augustine. Well, my cousin's daughter-in-law passed away who is our neighbor. And we met again. So we are so interconnected through these affiliations. Relationships are so important. It's very hard work, but the rewards long term are so wonderful. So I urge people who are taken by it and the people who are joining the Anjuman to make friends with everybody. Don't just come and stick with your little group from Siparia or Gasperlo or wherever you're from and don't meet anybody. Go out there, reach out, and make friends. Because I live in St. Augustine, and I think anybody who knows us from anywhere know that if they're in a difficulty and they're in our area, they could come home by us and they could get some help. So, and I offer it again. If you're in the area and you need anything, just come across and we will have our door open for you. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. I hope I could sing after all this talking. वो आया सबके लिए रहमते खुदा बनकर तमाम आलमे हस्ती का रहनुमा बनकर वो आया सबके रहमते खुदा बनकर तमाम आलमे हस्ती का रहनुमा बनकर मिटाने कुफर को तौहीद का प्याम आया जहाने नौ के लिए एक नया निज़ाम आया रसूले हक से नए दौर का हुआ आगाज़ नवाए वक्त बनी इनकिलाब की आवाज़ वो आया सबके लिए रहमते खुदा बनकर तमाम आलमे हस्ती का रहनुमा बनकर मची है धूम के हक का अमीन आया है वो अपने साथ खुदा की किताब लाया है अता हुआ था मोहम्मद को इल्मे कुरानी अमल से हो गई मीराज फिक्र इंसानी वो आया सबके लिए रहमते खुदा बनकर तमाम आलमे हस्ती का रहनुमा बनकर अता हुआ था मोहम्मद को इल्मे कुरानी अमल से हो गई मीराज फिक्र इंसानी अता हुआ था मोहम्मद को इल्मे कुरानी अमल से हो गई मीराज फिक्र इंसानी वो translation. He came for all as a mercy of God, as a leader of all the human beings. The message of the unity of Godhead came to destroy the heresy and unbelief. For a new world came a new order. With the messenger of God started the beginning of a new era. The voice of time became the voice of revolution. There is a great stir that the guardian of the truth has come. With him he has brought the book of God. Muhammad was granted the knowledge of the Quran. With righteous action, human thought attained its height of perfection. The one who was a handful of dust became the trusted guardian of life. The earthly life became more exalted than the heavens. Balagalula bikamalihi, kashfat duja bijamalihi, hasanat jamiu kisalihi, sallu alayhi wa alihi. Amen.
Thank you very much, Sister Nazina. We will now have a small, just before we end, we're nearing the end of the program. We just have the vote of thanks and the closing dua. But before we have the vote of thanks, we have a small video presentation compiled by the AAII Media Committee.
The Ahmadiyya Anjuman Isha'at Islam, Incorporated of Trinidad and Tobago, is a religious charitable organization established in 1975. We are primarily concerned with the peaceful propagation of Islam through literature, education, and community outreach. Our services cater to the religious, spiritual, and social needs of our members and the national community. The organization was founded to educate Muslims about the beauty of Islam and guide them to develop and enhance the divine qualities within their personality. We simultaneously propagate the beauty of Islam to non-Muslims and foster harmony among all peoples. Now, let's take a look at some key moments in our history. For about 50 years, the Anjuman has relied solely on calculation in determining the crescent for Ramadan and Eid. We have published a book outlining our calculation method and its Islamic rationale. We prepare our unique Islamic calendar every year and publicly declare in advance all local dates of our Islamic observances. This year, our organization is celebrating 50 years since its formation. During the next few months, we will be having a series of events to commemorate this special milestone. We look forward to your involvement and support. While we plan our schedule of events for this celebration, we would love to better connect with you. Please scan this QR code with your phone's camera and follow us on all social media platforms that you use. Thank you. Assalamu alaikum. Thank you. Assalamu alaikum.
Thank you very much to our hard-working media committee for putting together that. So we do apologize for the audio and see why Brother Farzan, our Vice President, made that appeal for financial contributions, right? So we can better, we can improve our technology. And secondly, this QR code there, this is accessible on YouTube. So you can scan the QR code and subscribe to the YouTube channel. I will now like to invite another nightingale of ours, but today she's not here to sing, but to give us a small vote of thanks. She's a very hardworking and dedicated member of the AAIITT and the Gospel Jamaat, and she has been a member of the AAIITT for quite some while, right? I'd like to invite Mrs. Nadia Alisha to give us a small vote of thanks and some instructions of this evening's proceedings.
Madam Chair, our dear Maulana, the President and members of our executive, members of the AAII, our loved and cherished elders, brothers and sisters, all in Islam, Assalamu alaikum. Firstly, I must say praise and thanks to Almighty Allah for affording us the opportunity to be here today. Thank you to Almighty Allah for life, and thank you for letting everything work out so smoothly for us today. Praise be to Almighty Allah indeed. To our very charming chairperson who carried the program quite efficiently, Sister Roshani, thank you so very much. I would like to extend our sincerest gratitude to Brother Jamir for the opening dua and for Brother Hafiz for that lovely Quranic recitation. To our president of the AAII, Sister Farida, who will have served for many, many years and so very dedicated to her work. I want to say thank you so very much for that lovely welcome and opening remarks that you would have given to us earlier this morning. To our Vice President, Brother Farzan, thank you so very much for the part that you would have played in our program this morning in terms of launching of our 50th anniversary. To the two members who would have delivered beautiful renditions, Brother Harun and to Sister Nazina, thank you so very much, and we certainly look forward to the upcoming events to hear those melodious renditions. Thank you so very much. To the AAII Media Committee for the work that went into this morning's video presentation. Thank you so very much, and we really do appreciate the amount of work and the effort that's put out here, as we would have seen this morning. Thank you so very much. Our dear Maulana. Maulana has been our inspiration. He was certainly, and he is certainly blessed with knowledge among so many other attributes.
because our dear Maulana is always able to bring clarity to so many things as it pertains to Islam and to our noble religion and the role of the Ahmadiyya Anjuman Isha'at Islam Incorporated. So Maulana, thank you so very much for this wonderful presentation that you would have done for us this morning. And may Almighty Allah continue to grant you wisdom as you continue your work in the propagation and the upliftment of Islam. Thank you so very much, Maulana. I would like in advance to say thank you to Sister Amelia, an executive member of the Anjuman, who will be giving us the closing dua very shortly. And there are a few there are some persons that we must definitely mention. So much thanks to the Akbar family. They were very instrumental in assisting with the acquisition of this piece of land many, many years ago. And they continue to assist us from time to time in the cutting of the grass on the compound and so on. So we say thank you so very much to this family. Thank you to the committee, the events committee and their team for their diligence in planning and in the preparations of today's event. Thank you so very much. For all those members and those well-wishers who came out yesterday to assist in the setting up of the environment, and for all of those who we usually say they work in the background, thank you so very much for your assistance. It is very, very much appreciated. And to Auntie Nariman, thank you so very much for all that you do. She wears many hats, but she is really, really a remarkable individual. See, when it comes to planning events and working with caterers and so on, Auntie Nariman, she has the expertise, and it is interacting with her that the younger ones we are able to learn. So Auntie Nari, thank you so very much, and for you and your team for the work that went into making the arrangements with the caterers and so on for the lovely meal that we will partake in very soon. I want to say thank you to Sister Sherry and Brother Trevor for coming out early this morning and for setting up the tea and coffee station for us. Thank you so very much. And I also want to say thank you again to you because you have so graciously donated 2 very large coolers to the Anjuman. Thank you so very much. We appreciate it. Thank you, a big thank you to our building committee, our maintenance committee led by Brother Farzan, for all that you would have done to ensure that our facilities were up to par for today. And our committee, they have been working, it's not only now, they've been working for the past few years. So all that we see here today, it was, of course, it is a process, and there are things that certainly that they will want to, improve as the time goes by. But we really want to say thank you to them because they would have worked very, very hard when it's raining and all of that. There are times that they're tired, but you know what? Because of their commitment, they come out here. So thank you so very much to Brother Farzan and his committee. And I want to say a huge thank you to a lovely little boy, our little Noah. Ever since we've been coming here recently, Noah has been here with his family, a little busybody. And little Noah was here yesterday, and he actually helped with bringing in the chairs. And let me tell you, one by one, Noah did what he had to do, and we really want to say thank you to our little one. And this is where the love for our religion, and this is where the appreciation of the AAII, this is where it starts. So I want to commend his parents and his grandparents, and certainly for us who have younger ones coming up, little ones, when they frequent here, this is when they learn about Islam and the cause that, we stand for. Brother Nadeem, to you and your team, thank you so very much for putting everything in place in terms of ensuring that all went well with the live streaming. To our caterers, we say thank you so very much, and we certainly look forward to partaking of the meal. To our photographer, we want to say thank you so very much to you, and for those who would have actually, who did the decorations for us, they did a wonderful job, so thank you so very much. And finally, my dear brothers and sisters, thank you so much to all of you in our audience for being here with us today. It is really lovely to see so many of you, and to see some faces, to see some of the members who we haven't seen in such a long, long time. Thank you so very much for gracing us with your presence, and certainly we look forward to seeing you at the other events that we will be hosting as the year progresses, inshallah.
And I must make special mention to our dear Auntie Zarina Mohammed, for gracing us with her presence. And forgive me, but our sister, our dear auntie, is she's 95 years of age. And we praise and thank Almighty Allah for keeping her. And she's there, she's walking around because she came up with us to the bus this morning. So it's really lovely to see you, Auntie. All right, so again, thank you so very much to everyone, and we look forward, to socializing and so on. So I will now move on very quickly to some announcements. So firstly, our lunch is going to be served buffet style, and the area has already been set up under the tents. For our senior citizens, we will allow them to partake of their meal first. All right, so once they have been served and so on, then the rest of us, we will move on, and of course in an orderly fashion for our lunch. And for our senior citizens, if you do require any assistance, please let us know, because we are more than happy to bring your meal to you, and the seating arrangements and everything is set up outside. All right. At the end of the program, my dear brothers and sisters, we will be releasing balloons as we commence our 50th anniversary celebrations. Randomly, we would have had persons and some children, they would have been randomly chosen this morning. So just as we are finished with the closing dua, those persons who have been identified, you will go forward, we will go forward outside, and all of us, we are asked to join in. Brother Farzan, he will be actually taking charge of this, and the procedure is very, very simple. He will do 3 takbirs, and we know it is usually followed by Allahu Akbar. You will be given, those persons will be given further instructions as they go out into the car park area, and they will meet with Brother Farzan. All right? And so, my dear brothers and sisters, that's it for me. I want to say thank you so very much, and I urge you first to all stay on and partake of all that has been provided for us. Thank you. Assalamu alaikum.
Thank you very much, Sister Nadia. Okay, so just to add a little bit, executive members, after the balloon release, you are invited to take an executive photo immediately after the balloon release. Yeah, after the balloons. The other thing I have to say, all other members, you are invited to take photos. We have a beautiful background there. And in addition to taking photos, we invite you, we make an appeal, and this appeal was made at Jalsa, for historical pictures, as well as pictures you have taken today, for inclusion in our 50th anniversary brochure. And these can be forwarded to Imam Dr. Hamza Rafiq, for any member of the executive, but Imam Dr. Hamza Rafiq is the one in charge of putting together our 50th anniversary brochure. Just to recap a few of the dates, I think you all took it down for a local leg of the convention. Aruka, Saturday 12th April, Fireburn, Saturday 26th April, Gasperlo, Sunday 4th of May, Ari Village, Saturday 17th of May, New Grant, Sunday 18th of May, Kunjal, Saturday 24th of May, and Siparia to be announced. Our grand finale on the 8th of June, International Convention on the 8th, 9th, and 10th of August 2025. And the last and most important appeal would be the need for financial assistance, which our brother Farzan rightfully said, to effectively execute this event. Letters can be available for corporate donors or sponsors. If anyone is willing, you can contact Brother Farzan.
To invite the assembly to go outside when they have the balloons, they invited to go, and the buffet will be closed after the balloons.
Right, so immediately after the closing dua, we all are invited to go outside for the balloon release. The buffet will be closed during that time. After the balloon release, the buffet will be open. We give preference to our elderly, as well as parents who may have very young children, and the executive members invited to come back for an executive photo. Hope we could take all that information. So to close off today's proceedings, I would like to invite one of our youngest and newly elected executive members to give us the closing dua, Miss Amelia Mohammed.
Brothers and sisters, all assalamu alaikum. Dua. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. Ar-Rahmanir-Rahim. Maliki Yawmiddin. Iyyaka na'budu wa iyyaka nasta'in. Ihdinas siratal mustaqim. Siratal ladzina an'amta alayhim. Ghayril maghdubi alayhim waladdallin. Ameen. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Allahu la ilaha illa huwal hayyul qayyum. La ta'khuzuhu sinatun wa la nawm. Lahu ma fis samawati wa ma fil ard. Man zalazi yashfa'u indahu illa bi'izni. Ya'lamu ma bayna aydihim wa ma khalfahum. Wa la yuhituna bi shay'in min ilmihi illa bima sha'a. Wasi'a kursiyyu samawati wal ard. Wa la ya'uduhu hifzuhuma wa huwal aliyyul azim. Amin, amin. Allahu akbar, Allahu akbar, Allahu akbar. La ilaha illallah Muhammadur Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam.
So you're now invited to go outside for the balloon release.
Yeah. Yeah. Do this already, the battery low on that. I got a low battery on it. This one you're not getting.
We have all the colors now, and this is simple.